Morning guys, welcome back to the channel. Right, so I've had a bit of a funny turn recently. I'll explain more later on. But today I am going to be fitting a Project EV. I've never fitted one before. It's my first time fitting one. We have been to this location many times before. We've did a big extension here and we've done landscaping, garden rooms, you name it, we've done it. So the idea is now we're actually coming to the final stage of this, this job for us. And we're fitting the EV charger. So it's a Project EV, she's going on there, and I'm going to show you how I go about it. So if you're new to the channel and you have not yet subscribed to the channel, links in one of these corners. Do us a favour, smash that, turn your notifications on, and let's get stuck into the video. So here, we've already fitted a board here previously on previous videos. We've done loads of work at this site. So that is where we're going to get the supply from over here. Obviously, we're going to have to downgrade it because it's not coming directly from the mains, because the mains are actually like way over the other side of the property, which is like way down. So the idea is for me is I'm going to run all my Ultra EV all the way down along here, along the top. I've got to get around this lot here somehow, and then the actual EV charger location, because we are a little bit limited here. So it's going to go on this side. It's going to go on the side here, and the reason why it's going to go on the side and not on the front is because it's got, see these brickwork here, it's stepped in and out. So yes, it will fit here, but what's going to happen is that garage door is an automatic garage door, and if you by accident leave your vehicle on charge, that garage door is not going to know that, and the charging point will come out the side here, and you know, we can all see what's going to happen there. It's going to get smashed off, so that's not going to be very good, is it? And then I'm going to get a phone call and it's jammed and all the rest of it, and it's a problem. So that's why it's not going there. So the cable that we're going to be using, like I say, is the Ultra EV cable. So the really cool thing about this is lots of things really. Let me just show you a little bit of it. So inside we have got our cores. Very messy. So we have got our cores, okay, and we've also got our Cat6 cable that's built in. So it's one cable to run, to work with. It's all shielded as well. Rather than having on the previous installation that I did for a customer, and funnily enough, he lives about 3 doors away, and I did his EV charger. So what he did on that one was actually a separate 6mm and to his network cable as well for the CT clamp. So obviously here we are using CT clamps monitoring, because we need to obviously know and make sure we are giving a load management, because that is what we need. So straight out of the box with the Project EV, because this is my first one I've ever installed on here. Looks a little bit jazzy and I like it. I'm going to be honest, it's a nice bit of kit. We were going to go originally for a Hypervolt, was what we were going to install, but the customer is at some stage potentially going to be getting PV on the roof. So with the Hypervolt, it doesn't allow for that, and obviously we didn't want to be then spending money. So this was a last minute change, which is fine, nothing wrong with that. Last minute change is what we like. It's got to be right for the customer. So we've gone with Project EV. So what we're going to do, I was going to open that up and we'll look at that together, I think. Today's video is sponsored by yours truly, Tradify. So for those of you who don't know what Tradify is, it's job management software. We run the entire company through it, from quoting, estimating, running our jobs, job management, everything. So if you were saying like here, I've got a job to do here, 1 in the afternoon, you know, it's brilliant. You really are, and you can have multiple lads. Also, you can do your electrical certification on it as well. We did it like everybody else does. You do your 14-day free trial, which I will put the link in the description below. And if you love it, like I'm sure you will, because I don't know anyone that I've sent that way has said, actually, it's rubbish, because it's not. It's awesome. It really is awesome. If you do love it, there's going to be a promo code GHawk50, and you'll get 50% off for the first 3 months. So can't say fairer than that, can we? But yeah, let's get stuck back into the video. Okay, so this is the inside now as we've took off. So the EV front cover as such has the flying lead here, which obviously connects into this PCB board here. And then the connections are actually made on the side lot. So we've got our incoming earth neutral live on here, and then these two areas here, you've got your CT clamp, CT clamp, well, that's where basically the end of the CT will come into. And then under here, you've got your RCBO, which is a double pole, it is, because obviously that's what you need on your EV stuff anyway. So we've mounted up the bracket, the mounting bracket on it now. So I've marked out roughly where obviously the center line is for your entry point on here. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to come down a little bit to allow a bit of a bend. We're going to drill through, which is probably going to be around about here somewhere, and then that gets me into the garage. But I do need to make some room in there now. So before I go too mad, I need to sort of move some bits and bobs out the way and get all that sorted. So I'm going to get this garage door up and then start looking at running the cable back to that point and then sorting that out. So I have to be a bit of a Spider-Man, I reckon, to try and sort that out. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to hook it on the wall. The good thing about that is it literally is. Sorry if I seem a bit downbeat today. It's not intentional. You'll find out. Stay tuned. You will find out why. But so the gist of it is it literally just hooks on there. Now, I think that is the best location for it. Yes, it's a little bit awkward for said gate on the side of the gate post, but for those covers, but you'll be fine. You can actually still get to it. You just need to use a stubbier screwdriver, and then you can still get to it. It's fine. It's accessible. It's okay. Chill your beans. It's fine. Okay. So let's get this cable ran, and then we'll see what we're doing at that other end. Clear it all out. Just bear with me. For you, it'll take literally a millisecond. For me, it'll probably take me about half an hour. True to fashion, it is hammering it down. So always seems to be the way. Do an EV charger and it hammers it down. So I'm going to duck out here quickly. So I'm quite lucky actually, I've got this protected area, it's not too bad. So what I've done, I've got the supplies all wired up. Now I'm getting soaked right now, but so I always try and do a bit of a loop round like that, so it gives you a little bit more room for manoeuvring if you need to change it. The CT clamp, you can just about see that on there. So that is pretty much ready to go now. So I've just run the cable down the other end. Oh, a bit of a close-up, isn't it? Right at the old nostrils. Oof. Beauty. So I've run the cable all the way along the top now, all the way down there, and we're now back to the board. Okay, so what I'm going to do, because the weather is so naff, okay, so I'm going to get that end sorted, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to terminate or get that end into the board, okay, and get that end all put away and get the cover on and everything, because it is getting a bit. It was all right a minute ago, and then it's just heavens have opened. So we're going to get all that bit sorted, get the cover back on, because we don't need to have that now. I just need the access to the side. So this can go back on properly and get that put away. But nobody wants to see me getting wet, do they? Oh, the other thing is I've just done obviously my dead testing on there, just so you know, girls and boys, we have passed out on IR, and also our R1 plus R2 is 0.10, which is what I'd kind of expect on the length of this run, because it's only a short run. It's what would it have been, 8 meters, something like that. So yeah, so that's what we've done so far. Now the weather has been pretty horrific, but it's actually stopped now, and it's now nice and warm. So on and off with the coat, which is not great when you're feeling this way. So that will lead me on to letting you know. So I'm going to go off and go and get that now. Go and get the MCB, because the local branch to me where I am now actually doesn't stock a fuse box. Now, yes, I've got a different manufacturer that will work. It will fit in here. But in my eyes, it's not right, and I don't want to do it. I want it to be, the continuity's got to be good. I want to keep that fuse box. So I am going to go off, and you're going to say, oh, you're mental. I am going to go off. I'm going to go and get it, and then that way it's all right. So, right, 2 seconds, and I'm going to come back, and we're going to explain why I'm feeling the way I am. Right, so as you can see, I'm in the van. Right, I've just been feeling a bit naff. Now, this is a bit of a wake-up call for everybody. I'm 38 years old. Not really looked after myself, let's be honest, with just everything in general. So I coach my lads, or help out coach. I'm not one of the main coaches, but help out coaching my lads' rugby team. Love it, absolutely love it. I love rugby, always have done, and I really enjoy that side of it. And I like spending time, obviously, with my eldest lad, and my baby boy. He's getting into rugby, but he's too little to join properly. But he's doing rugby-based stuff. So at training, anyway, long story short, at training, felt a little bit off. Couldn't really work out why, just felt a bit off, and did too much. That's basically the gist of it. Did too much, and ended up pretty much blacking out in front of all the parents, which is great. And some of the lads on the rugby team will be should be watching this, maybe watching this, but I know one in particular will be watching it. And it's pretty embarrassing, going to be honest. It happens, but I bombed out. Classic rugby mentality anyway. Everyone just takes the piss, and that's fine. That's what it's all about. That is rugby all over. But not my finest hour. So that leading on, I managed to compose myself after about half an hour of really genuinely feeling pretty rough. And much to the humour of the rest of the people there, you know. So anyway, managed to join back in the training session, but nothing too strenuous. But the rest of the day I felt pretty naff. I'm going to be honest, pretty naff. So that led me on to, I had my blood pressure checked later on, extremely low blood pressure for one reason or another. And then, long story short, I ended up down in A&E, and I got released this morning at 1:30 this morning. All checked out, heart's okay, don't get me wrong, but a massive wake-up call of there's obviously something not quite right. I don't know what it is. I'm really tired, and that's more so than as if I just stopped up watching a film, for example. It's not really normal. I'm not normally this tired. So there's obviously something going on. I can't quite work out what it is. Had ECGs, blood tests, all that sort of stuff yesterday, and the staff there at the end at the hospital were brilliant, to be fair. It's interesting, the people that walk in the early hours of the morning, I must admit, a bit weird. There was actually Harry Potter was there, and what he was doing there, but still. So a bit of a wake-up call. That's why I'm in a bit just a little bit away with the fairies. Now, one of the reasons I've come out to work today is we've done a lot of work for this family, and we become very sort of, we're customers of ours. We generally become more like friends than actually customers. And I knew if something went wrong here, they would look after me. I know that's not a responsibility, and I know that sounds awful, but there's no pressure on me whatsoever to get this job done today. It doesn't matter. It really isn't imperative that I need to get this sorted. So the moral of this story is I'm not getting any younger, and I know I'm not old either, and I still see in my head that I'm 21 and I'm not. And I think this is what the problem is that we all take it for granted. So I'm going to try and start looking after myself a little bit more exercise. Although let's face it, we all do a physical job, but is that enough? Do we get enough exercise doing our jobs in that day? Probably not. I don't drink enough. That's another thing. Majorly don't drink enough. And I don't mean beer. It's water and juice or whatever. So that's why I just wanted to share that, because I'm a very open person. I like to share things if it helps somebody else. If it's not going to help anybody else, then I won't share it. There's no point. But this may be a little bit of a kick up the backside for someone else, because I'll be honest with you, I mean, I smash so many calories down in my lunch breaks, but what's happening at the minute is I am getting to the stage of 10 o'clock, I am absolutely starving. I start getting the shakes and I'm bombing out, feeling really crap. and then as soon as I've had my lunch, I'm okay and I can carry on. So it could be diabetes, I'm not entirely sure, but we're going to get more tests and stuff done. But luckily enough, like I say, at the rugby club, we've got a fantastic first aid in. Our first aider, Emma, she was brilliant with it. So looked after me alongside taking the piss. So, like I say, go and get yourselves checked out if you're feeling a bit naff. Like I said, my chest has been hurting all day yesterday, and it sort of feels sore, if that makes any sense. I had pins and needles in my hands, not a good sign. So, like I say, look after yourselves. And anyway, so now I'm going off to go and get the parts. So, like I say, just wanted to be open. This is why I'm not really myself. Right, okay, so CT clamps on. It's all wired up at the board, that end. I'll just show you briefly, although you can't see inside it. So it's all wired up now. So we've got the CT going in, and that's all clamped down. Now that goes, again, it's all a bit of forward planning, isn't it, on that side of things. So what we use, what we use on, to extend it all, basically, the gist of it is that you said about gel joints. So that is what it is. So the idea is, obviously, you peel the cables back. Now I leave the pair as a twisted pair on there, and then I peel back like so, and then that goes in to that end like that, and then you've got the other end. So tell you what, let's just do it. I'm going to cut it in half, and I'm going to show you exactly what it does. So please hold. Okay, so it's like that. Okay, pushed right in, and then what you do is you use your pliers, and then you crush it together like that. And then what it does, it gives you a nice clean joint on there. It doesn't come out. Nice connection. It's waterproof. Yeah, so they're good. Very, very handy, and they're not expensive. And there's loads. You get absolutely tons of them when you order them. Get them in a big bag. So that's that. That'll be sorted. So all the dead testing, installation, all done. Okay. Now, like I say, I'm on a very big go slow today because I've not been feeling great, but I've now come to register because, like I say, I've never fitted Project TV before. It's all new. I've never fitted one. Come to register it, and it won't take my email address. Our company email address will not take it because it is 2 characters too long. Just spoke to Project TV, and one of them said, "Oh no, sometimes it will take it. It will take it without you, your email address. It'll work. It doesn't need it." I'm thinking, yeah, well, whatever. I mean, when have you ever known that to happen? So that's not very good. So yeah, cut me off the call. Tried it again. Obviously, it doesn't work. Rang back up, and here we are. So he's now told me I've got to create a new email address purely to install this. That's good, isn't it? So I'm not going to get that done today, am I? It's not going to happen. So I've now got to sort that out, and I've got to come back tomorrow, which I kind of knew anyway. I was going to have to come back tomorrow, which is fine because I've got another job for another neighbour to do. But it's not fine, is it? Because that is stupid. 2 characters. That's all it needs. 2 characters. It's ridiculous. So overall, like you say, I'm going to hit the pause there, and then we're going to pick this up tomorrow. So right, some of you might have noticed that I've been using these recently. These are from Klein Tools. They are awesome. Now, you might notice they're a little bit of a strange colour. Now, these are a limited edition from Macmillan Cancer Support. Okay, so every pair of these that are purchased, they are genuinely a limited edition. So you can get them from your local CEF. So for every pair purchased, they'll donate £5 to cancer support. So really, really important. Show some love. If you are in the need of some new cutters, the cutters are awesome anyway, I'm going to be honest. Those all Klein Tools are. They are really good, and they're actually nice, comfortable cutters. So if your cutters are a little bit getting to the end of their life, why not pick these up and give these a go? Those say I've been using them now for the last sort of week and a half, something like that, and they are actually really nice. And my other ones are stayed in the bag since I've used these. So, like I say, give them a little whirl, do your little bit, and yeah, let's try and beat it together. Right, so we are back today after I sorted all that faffing out with, had to get a new email address because they can't take the characters, which I think is ridiculous. So it's been raised with the management at Project EV, and hopefully they're going to resolve that, because I don't want to be then going back. I've got 3 email accounts for the work, and we don't need that. We just want to go back to how it was. So moan over, they're going to look into it and try and get it sorted. So obviously we're back onto the next day because I had to go home and sort all that out. It was stressful. I didn't need it. So we have now all commissioned everything. It's all ready to go. So we've powered it all up. Okay, so we've also did all our dead testing, which I did yesterday, but I didn't want to energise anything because I wanted to make sure I wasn't inducing any further problems, because I needed to make sure I can get the app sorted, because I wanted to energise it all in one go, which is what I've done. So CT clamp is all on right down the other end. Now, it says in the manual that you can extend it up to 50 metres, but when I actually spoke to technical, they said 60. Which is great because we're way within that anyway, so that's fine. So board's all tested out now, so we've done our R1 plus R2, fine, done my RR, and I've also done my RCD testing. So what I wanted to show you now is that we have got our EV charging adapter, and what we're going to do is I'm just going to run through the different procedures on that. Because basically, yes, I've got an EV vehicle sitting just there, okay, so, but if you didn't have that, this will replicate having a EV vehicle there anyway. So on here, we've got the different states, okay, so we've got an open state, we've got on, but it's not charging, okay, so what that will do is just say, yes, it's activated the system to say, yeah, I'm on, but I'm not actually charging. And then we've got letter C, sorry, is charging with no fan, okay? And then you've got D, which is charging with a fan, all right? So the other thing is, obviously, we need to do is make sure that you can induce these other faults on here. So you've got your CP error and PE error. So you need to be able to make sure you're inducing faults that the machine will cut off, you know, to stop any issues arising. So that is obviously another procedure that you need to do. But the other thing that you need to do is make sure that when you have plugged the charger in, that it can't be removed when it's in charging mode. And that is something obviously you must have. So on the side here, so I'm going to plug that in as if it is a vehicle, and hopefully going to try and do this one-handed. So as it stands right now, we have got nothing. It's just saying, yeah, okay, you've plugged me in, but I'm not doing anything as yet. So can't going to do that one-handed, am I? Stick you on there, hold on. So we're now going to change the state on here to say that I'm calling for charging. Sorry, we're calling for charging, so we're going to move that down to our C setting. You'll hear a click, which I'm assuming you've just heard, and it will now change the LED screen on here to green to say, yes, I'm charging, we're all ready to go. So that is now showing that we've got voltage coming through. I shouldn't be able to remove the handle, which we can't. We can't remove the handle. Look, here's Lou, look. So the lads are actually back on the other job, which is literally across the... Oh, hang on. What's going on, mate? You caught on film, you know? Yep. That is literally daylight robbery. I know, sorry. Well, the cheek of it. So yeah, so the handle there is obviously locked in position. It's now saying that I have got, it is charging, and what we'll do at this stage is we will then do a voltage check as well on that to make sure that it is charging. So, you need the key? No. Nope. So we'll put that in to the back there, and it will show that we are charging, okay? So it is now emitting our voltage. So the other side to do from that is obviously we can do through there, we do all our RCD testing and all the rest of it. Now, The RCDs obviously on here is a double pole RCD. So that's what, if you don't know what that means, which is this little bad boy in there, and it's a type C as well. So if you don't know what that means, it's basically, it not only cuts off the live, it actually cuts off the neutral as well. And that is you can only have that when you're doing any EV charging installation. So if you're doing it on a different way and the RCD is not built into the machine, and it is fed from the other end, so for, in this instance, in the DB that's actually in there, you've got to make sure that you have got a double pole RCBO. I'm just watching Lou because he's going to turn you around, like you can watch him put the nerves on. So Lou is now, hopefully, if you can see that, not going to shove those ladders through the customer's bonnet. Watching you, we're watching, the world is watching you, the World Wide Web is watching you, Lou. Is your roller a bit? Yeah, it's a bit stiff, isn't it? Got a bit of a stiff roller. I know, I need to sort it, I'll get round to it. Don't tell everyone all the secrets, Lou. It'll be on camera. No, it's fine, you can leave that, I'll be over in a minute. So, it's a bit of a random bit of the video, isn't it? But I like it, Lou. So now obviously I've still got that saying in charging mode. So now I want to turn that off. So you should hear obviously audibly click to say, yes, I'm not charging anymore. And we've just now gone back to our A setting, which is an open setting, which should have then unlocked my charging point, which is AKA vehicle, and I can take that out. So that is just a little quick brief overview on that. Obviously we can go more into depth on a later video on there, but I've waffled on enough on this one. So yeah, so that's basically the gist of it. So obviously when you're in those modes, you select the appropriate one to do your RCD testing. You can RCD test and do your ZS values as well on the side of the terminals, which are now handily covered by your plate here. Which is what I do, to be fair. I'd test them down there. But yeah, so obviously then it's heavily labelled up, which is both ends. Also, I like to put a label around the CT clamp just to let people know that yes, the CT clamp is for the electric vehicle charging point. So there you go. So that is basically it. Project EV installed. I'd just like to point out another thing actually on there. So we had, oh, you are very wonky. So when I was setting it all up, because like I say, this is my first Project EV, I actually rang technical and got them to go through the procedure with me, because every different manufacturer of EV charging point is slightly different, okay? So I went through all that with them, and obviously you have to go through that and making sure that your installation is completely 100%, which is what this one is now. So that's us, we're all done. So another EV charger installed. So this is obviously a non-tethered charging point. So we are now charging the new vehicle, ready to go. So it's been running on what I call a granny lead, aka an emergency lead, for quite a while. So we're all sorted. So that's another one done, and we're on to the next one. So if you are looking for a EV charge point to be installed, then our link to our website is in the description below as well. So you can send us an inquiry through that, which again is linked to Tradify. So thanks for watching. See you soon.